All right, so I read up a little more on Space Invaders here, and looks like there's three different types of aliens. So there's two rows of these guys, and two rows of these guys, and one row of these guys, which looks like what we found. We have this one, which is this top row, and then this guy. Oh wait, no, this guy's the top row. This guy's the top row. So what we have for Space Invaders 3, and then this guy looks like, yeah, the bottom two rows, and this guy looks like these two rows. Okay, so oh, and then there's this mystery ship that comes flying by every once in a while, and if you hit that, you get extra bonus points. But for now, I'm just going to try putting in this one single row. And again, we have the bullet that comes out. And you know, when you're playing the game, actually, these guys kind of change their shapes. I only got one shape for each one, but you know, you can, if you dig around on the internet, you might find some nice pairings, or if you're good with Photoshop or something like that, you might make yourself, you know, edit one of these and make a different image that you can flip between. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to do the preview trick, and let's see, crop this guy. I like to have some even numbers so I can, however much resizing I need to do. It looks like I needed to divide by 10. So if I can get, see, I have the 364 by 347. If I can get, like, say, no, 360 ain't going to work. 370 by 360 maybe. Almost had it. Nope, not quite. Nope, that's 371. Okay, that looks good. All right, and then center it. Well, I can't really center it bottom-wise, can I? 'Cause, well, I guess I could have cut that out. So I'll center it this way too. And crop that. And duplicate it. And, oh, call that, I guess I'll call that Alien 1, because that's the one that's going to be on the top row. So alien1.ping. And finally, I need to, like, get rid of this. Can we just delete that? Yeah. So I just, you know, pulled a box around it and then hit the delete key, and that did it. So let me say save. Alright, so there's my Alien 1, and undo the crop for this one and crop the bullet. Let's see. And again, if I can get this as a multiple of 10, that would be nice. Okay, so 67. Oh, 70 by, come on, 70 by 150, that looks like I got it. And can I go down anymore? Let's see. Okay, so that looks kind of centered, so let me crop that. Tools, crop. And the way I'm centering is with the arrow keys too. So now let me save this. Oh, duplicate it, right? Duplicate it as alien, alien1 bullet. Okay, and oops, and I will undo crop on this one. And I'm going to go here and duplicate these. Duplicate just to hold on to the originals. Oh, and then the bullet I gotta do, right? File, duplicate. So that's just to keep the one with the original size. And so now I can go back into preview and say adjust size and make this 10%. And ooh, that's really tiny. And adjust size and make this 10%. Oh, that's the wrong one. Undo. And the one I want is this guy. Adjust size and make it 10%. I might change these. Those are really tiny bullets, or maybe change the background to make it clearer or something. I don't know. But for now I have an alien and alien bullets. So let's just get the alien moving back and forth and see if we can get. In fact, let's do this. Let's for this lesson. Let's get a row of aliens showing up at a good place on the screen. I think that's a good piece to try to cover at this point. So how do we do that? Well, if we look at the original here, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of these guys evenly spaced with some margin on the sides there. Okay, so let's say, how much of a margin is that? It's a little different on each side, but that's at least 1 over there and maybe 2 over here. So, all right. So let's think about that for a second. So I'm going to flip back. Remember, I said I like to use the micro worlds, or you might use a draw program, however you want to figure out certain things. And spacing is one thing that would be nice to be able to do here. So I'm just going to make like 11 turtles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now how would I figure out how to evenly space 11 turtles going across the screen here? Or these are going to be my aliens, 11 aliens. Well, let's think about it. Well, if we look at the size of our well, let's do this. If I go all the way over here and say, where is my turtle right now? If I and again, you know, if you're using a draw program, you can probably, you know, do something to see how far away part of your screen is and stuff like that. So this guy's at 366 right now. Okay. And Y core I'm not too concerned about because I can set them all to the same Y coordinate. So, in fact, I'm going to get rid of this shooter for a second, so I'm just dealing with turtles. So what I could do is I could just ask everyone, set your Y coordinate to like 160, say. Okay, so they're all lined up. So it's pretty easy to give them all the same Y coordinate, right? So I'll be able to do that. But how do we get them so that they're evenly spaced? Well, okay, so right now this guy is at 366 and this guy is going to be, this guy is going to be at minus 366. So the coordinate system on here is not the same as you're going to have in Java, but we can see the basic idea is that, so in Java this would be going from 0 to like 700 and something, right? So what we want to do is, let's say we're starting all the way over here, and then if we have 11 guys all together, how many spaces are there in between? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 spaces in between. So if we have a screen, actually let's make a new project, because I want to have it be some multiple of 10. Oops. So let's say new project, and let's don't say the old one, and let's set the project size to 800 by 600. Okay, so I have so it's 800 by 600, so it's 800 across. Okay, so so I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if there's 11 of them and it's 800 across, if I start at 0, say, and I end at 800, and I have 10 spaces in between, well, then if I put this guy 80 away from him, right? So if this space is 80, the next space is 80, the next space is 80. I have 10 spaces. So with 10 spaces, I should cover the whole 800, right? It's not exactly what we want, because we want to have a margin, but let's start with that. So let's make a new subclass. You know what I'm going to do, because all my aliens are going to do kind of the same thing. I think I'm going to just say alien. And then if they end up having different behaviors, I might separate them out into different classes. But for now, really the only difference is that they're going to have different shapes. So for now, I'm just going to start this guy out with the alien shape. Let's see what that looks like here. Make sure. Yeah, that looks cool. Okay, so I'm going to start him out with the alien shape, and then I can always do shape changing at another as part of the constructor or whatever, right? So But I want to figure out how I can line up these aliens. And since I'm lining them up in the world, I'm gonna do that in here. I'm gonna do that as part of my prepare function, right? So, so let's say I want to. My width is 640. If my width is 640, then if I start the first one at 0 and get the last one at 640 with 10 spaces in between, that means I'll have to have, if there's going to be 10 spaces, then there'll have to be 64 pixels between each space, right? So I could go through and say add object, and I can just say it like this, right? New alien, let's say 0 and then a height of, I don't know, 20, say. And then I could do that 11 times, right? And then I'd have to, but I'd have to change this by 64 each time, right? Then this would be 64, and then I'd add another one at 128, right, like that. And I could go through and add all my aliens that way. Let's see, let's get it started. Okay, so I'm adding, and I could just keep going and going and going until I get all the way to the other side, right? But there's a nicer way to do that, which is to use a for loop. So there are different ways to write for loops, but I'm going to write this one. So basically the idea is I'm going to say for, I'm going to have to write some stuff inside these parentheses. And then I'm going to make a block. So for in some ways is similar to an if statement, because you have, what did I do here? For, I think it's just because I didn't fill in what goes in here. So when we have an if statement, right, we have if and then parentheses and then a block of code. Let me just, I'm going to fake it for now. Okay, so, and then there's a block of code in here. So, and there's some, for if, there's one thing in here that evaluates to true or false, right, some kind of Boolean. With for, with a for statement, there's actually 3 things that you put inside it, and it, you know, with this for that I'm going to show you, there's 3 things, and so, and it allows you to do something over and over and over again. So I'm going to say for int I, I'm going to create a variable called I, and I'm going to start it out at 0. So the first piece, the first thing you need to put into the for statement is basically a statement saying this is the stuff I want you to do before you start the block. So before you do anything that's in this block, we're going to create a variable called I, and we're going to set it to 0. The next thing you do is, how do I know that I'm done with the block? And I'll explain that a little more in a second. So if I'm going to say when I is less than, if I is less than 11, then I'm not done. Okay. Or I'm going to keep going as long as I is less than 11. And what I mean by keep going is, I mean I'm going to keep doing, so I'm going to get rid of 2 of these, because I'm going to keep adding objects as long as I is less than 11. So I is going to start out at 0, then it's going to become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, it will after you see the third part. And then when it gets to 11, I'm going to say, oh, I'm done. Don't add objects anymore. So the first part is, what do we do before entering this block? The second part is, when do we stop doing what's in this block? And the third part is, what do we do, in between? What do we do at the end of each block? So at the end of every single block, we're going to add one to I. So let's compile that. Okay? So now this will happen 11 times. So if I say compile, it's done it 11 times, but why did we just see one of these guys? Well, here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we did make 11 of them, but we put them all in the same spot. So what do we do about that? Well, remember, this is our x coordinate, right? So that's the part that we need to change each time. And we're starting it at 0, but hey, I starts at 0, doesn't it? So what we can do is we can just say add 64 to I, because 64, we decided 64 was the magic number to make it, to spread things evenly. So now, if we say compile, maybe 64 isn't the magic number. Let's see. If we add, oh, it's not I plus 64. If we start out at I equals 0, then we want the first one to be at 0. We want the second one to be at 64. That's 1 times 64. We want the third one to be at 2 times 64. That's 128. Then 3 times 64. So we're multiplying. We're not adding here. Let's compile that and see what that looks like. And there we have it all the way across. So this is almost what we want, but we want to have a little bit of a margin. So we'll figure that out when we pick this up the next time.